Donald Trump, by the way, peeked his head out over the weekend, which predictably entertaining and terrifying. Let's actually take a listen to some of what he had to say here. Trump is trying to ride this impossible line, at least impossible for someone who isn't fully in the MAGA camp already, of taking credit for the vaccine while also appealing to the burgeoning anti-vaxxer crowd that people like Tucker Carlson have recognized as an untapped resource for the Republican and conservative and white supremacist project. People who would, at least for Tucker's purposes, he's interested in maintaining an audience. But this seems to be someone that Trump has identified, or a constituency that Trump has identified as well, which is evidenced by the fact that he got the vaccine right before he left office in January and did not tell anybody about it. So now this is his current posture. It's not necessarily tenable, but it may not even matter. Let's take a listen to what he had to say.
How about the vaccine? I came up with the vaccine. They said it would take 3 to 5 years, gonna save the world. I recommend you take it, but I also believe in your freedoms 100%. But just so you understand, but it was a great achievement. It was a great achievement.
Yeah, there's a cheer to that. He recommends you take it, but he also supports your freedoms 100%. If someone who wasn't Trump had said that, it would have been called some sort of totalitarianism, a complete imposition on your freedoms. Go ahead,
but it's still also framing the vaccine as antithetical to freedom, which of course it's not. It's actually conducive to freedom. It allowed me to go see a Mets game. It allows you to travel freely, and it's just a necessity of, we're seeing the necessity of having those, or encouraging people to have the vaccine because of what we're seeing from the variant now.
Right, but framing it as antithetical to freedom or as a personal choice is paramount to the conservative project because it undermines public health as something that's a collective, right?
Yeah, whereas the real message should be these sorts of things actually help freedom, help everybody live freer lives. Right,
it should be, but that's not the message that they're going with. And Trump also is just very conscious of these constituencies, maybe not, fully in some scientific way, but we're seeing the evangelical base of the party is just completely rejecting vaccines. We're also seeing it in the reddest states in the country that this kind of rhetoric is having obvious effects. And I don't want to just make this a partisan issue because our public health system, or lack thereof, made this kind of pandemic and vaccine hesitancy very ripe for kind of the exploitation that we're seeing on the right. Black Americans in this country are quite skeptical of our healthcare system, given the amount of medical racism and exploitation and pain that we as a society have caused in that area, which makes a lot of sense. And then on the right, you have people who are more religiously inclined, and there is a project that people like, as I mentioned, Tucker Carlson, Trump, people on the right are undergoing because it meets their ends, and are trying to see that through. So there's separate tracks. We can't make it all about the partisan infighting between Republicans and Democrats because that doesn't accurately reflect what's happening here. There's also just this undertone of, look at how untrusted our system is.
Yeah, I mean, Canada has Trumpers too, but they also were able to get people vaccinated
immediately. So there's a bunch of dynamics here. So Politico is also reporting that in Alabama and Louisiana, partisan opposition to the vaccine has been surging alongside the Delta variant. Many people are turning down COVID vaccines because they're angry that President Donald Trump lost the election and are sick of Democrats thinking they know what's best. I mean, that's definitely part of it. So somehow some of those two things are interloped.
Yeah, I also just want to register some good news, which is that there's an uptick in vaccinations in particularly Arkansas. And so it might happen that it is the case that the media can dumb people down so much until it actually starts affecting them, and then it's like, oh crap! I don't know particularly how good of propaganda those stories of this person is on the deathbed and said they're still not sure if they get the vaccine is. I don't.
Oh, that's just a way for liberals to right. It's a masturbatory exercise.
But the fact that things like that are happening is. Like, that's not mediated to people, right? Mm-hmm. Like, they're knowing that happened to a cousin or relative of theirs. And hopefully, maybe we can see the rest of that in the Midwest.
There's data to buttress it, because Ron Klain of the White House, of the Biden administration, tweeted that, I think it was yesterday or the day before, was the biggest sign up they'd seen in weeks for vaccines. So there is some silver lining to this. But right, if you're looking at Trump's position logically, there's no way to square those things. That's a fruitless exercise, and I still remain quite amused that he's taking credit for the production and manufacture and research of the vaccine, which is exactly how he framed it.
Well, that's what's so funny about this sort of contingency online that's like, oh, just call it the Trump vaccine and then everyone will get it, when in reality he can have it both ways when he wants. It's my vaccine and I support your freedoms to never take it.
Right, and then met with a cheer at the Turning Point USA conference. Nuts.
Folks, there's more of what you've just saw where that came from. That's if you hit the subscribe and like button. Thank you. Really, thank you.